what is a role of yours that you would like to see Chevy Chase put a spin on?
I'd love to see Chevy do Don Draper.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Mr. Hamm, I'm actually going to start with you. You obviously do such an incredible job of taking on a role made famous by Chevy Chase and kind of making it your own. But I'm sort of curious if you could reverse that. What is a role of yours that you would like to see Chevy Chase put a spin on?
I'd love to see Chevy do Don Draper. I think that would be a truly innovative and interesting take on the role, and I would certainly tune in to watch it.
Oh, I would. I now like the wheels are turning, and now I can't.
There you go. See,
I can't unsee that. But seriously, what do you think it will be like the first time you see someone play one of your characters? Like, is that something that, as an actor, you just accept like probably is going to happen one day?
Well, it's interesting. The reason we were able to basically reboot this franchise and sort of reimagine this character is because there are 10 or 11 novels that exist in the world that have since the 70s that I read when I was in my teens. There isn't as much source material for someone like Don Draper. There hasn't been written. And if somebody wanted to try to write that, well, good luck to them. Yeah, I don't know. That's part of what's exciting about what we do is that things can be reimagined and things can be retold in a different way, and you can take that in a very literal way. I remember when Gus Van Sant sort of remade Psycho sort of famously and shot for shot and all of this other stuff. There's a way to do it that way, and then there's a way to kind of completely reimagine the story, reimagine the tone, and that's what is exciting about filmmaking. It's also what's exciting about cover versions of songs. There's a lot of different versions of Crazy. There's a lot of different versions of songs out there that let you kind of take your own path to it, and that's what I knew that Greg and I have worked together before. I trust him as a filmmaker. I know he's got great taste, and I knew that together we could come up with something that's new and original and yet compelling and exciting from a storytelling standpoint.
Well, that actually perfectly leads into my next question for both of you guys, because obviously between Fletch and between Top Gun, we've seen really great continuations of titles that we know and love, and we've seen it work because there is more story. So I'm curious, as an actor, as a storyteller, what is the difference between a story that can and should be continued? And is there such a thing as an example of one that's untouchable and should be left alone forever? Are there any 80s titles that should just never be touched?
I don't think anybody can touch real genius.
I mean, when you've reached the top of Mount Olympus,
you're leaving out Ghostbusters, which has been extended a couple of times. I don't think that there's anything that's necessarily off limits. I think what I had said about having this extant source material makes it a little bit easier, because obviously the person who created this character, Gregory McDonald, had envisioned this entire life and an extension of this life for this character. So we can keep going back to the stories that exist and telling those stories. That's the exciting part of it. I don't know. I don't think anything's off limits.
Greg, is there such a thing as a pop culture off limit? If they came to you with ET 2?
Yeah, I would not touch that with a 10-foot pole. I'm glad they left Star Wars alone, that they didn't do any.
Thank God.
I'm kidding. I love all the continuation of that. I would love to work in that world in case Lucasfilm's watching. And I think the thing about like why Fletch today, I think what's cool about Fletch, like the original character and it's baked into the books, is he's a guy who just doesn't mind breaking the law or cheating or lying to people for the greater good of finding out the truth, for getting the bad guy behind bars. And I think a lot of people would like to be able to do that in this world we live in, because there's a lot of things that just seem they don't get solved, problems that don't get solved. And Fletch is like, well, we could wait for due process, but that takes too long. So I'm just gonna go and start lying and pulling scams.
Love it. As one does. That's why I can't watch the series Unsolved Murders, because it drives me nuts that like when the episode ends, it drives me nuts, and I'm like, well, it's baked in the title. Guys, I thank you for continuing to just do great work, because it makes my life easy, because it's easy for me to come up with questions. But seriously, thank you for always being so kind and for fitting me to your schedules. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good to see you guys.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.